Feeling anxious about your taxes today? We'll find out how likely you are to be audited this tax season.
An exciting new update from the Biden administration regarding long-term care and child care.
And the youngest professional basketball player in U.S. history is way closer to home than you think.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV Nightly News.
Thank you for joining us on ntTV Nightly News. I'm Victor Villagran.
And I'm Avery Callens. An update in the Fox News Dominion voting case. Both sides have agreed to settle out of courts.
And Fox has agreed to pay $787.5 million. This keeps one of the highest profile cases of the year from going to trial. The settlement occurred at the last minute, and the jury had just been selected this morning.
Dominion CEO John Pelosi stated Fox has admitted to telling lies about Dominion that has caused enormous damage to my company, our employees, and our customers.
And the settlement hits right as election season is rolling around here in Denton, with multiple city council seats up for grabs and a massive $1.4 billion education bond on the table. Early voting opens citywide on April 24th, and Election Day falls 2 weeks later on May 6th.
Starting off in District 1, current council member Vicki Bird must defend her seat against former council member Berta Johnson. Vicki Bird is a retired teacher and former officer at the Texas Women's University Police Department. Bird has been part of the city council since 2020, and her focus this term will be on improving the infrastructure in District 1.
And Bird's challenger, Berta Johnson, also has experience working on the city council. In her past terms, Johnson has worked extensively with marginalized communities. For the upcoming term, Johnson looks to improve the infrastructure in District 1 by listening to what the community wants. And in District 3, incumbent Jesse Davis faces a recall election while battling two challengers in his bid for a third term, former council member Paul Meltzer and newcomer Stephen Dillenberg.
Incumbent Jesse Davis has been under fire recently for ignoring the voices of voters in Denton and is now facing a recall election. However, if he wins on May 6th, the recall election will be null and void. Davis has previous experience on the city council and looks to increase public safety this term by addressing the rising number of violent crimes in District 3.
And Stephen Dillenberg is the younger of the two challengers and has never served on the city council before. He believes that the city of Denton needs to become more active in the legal sector and begin to bring lawsuits against federal, state, and regional governing bodies. Former council member Paul Meltzer is the more senior challenger and, if elected, said he will focus on bringing more green space and single-family homes into District 3.
And the vacant seat in District 4 is up for grabs, with longtime Justice of the Peace Joe Holland competing against loans officer Stephanie Newhart and financial analysis Donald Thornton.
With 16 years in government, Holland's focus is on improved infrastructure like road repair and parks. He also plans to keep the city council focused on, quote, city business.
Challenger Newhart has 15 years of experience as an account manager. If elected, she also plans to improve the city's roads and address rising property taxes.
And Donald Thornton, the final challenger, is a longtime Denton resident and financial advisor. If elected, he plans to push for the development of more small businesses, as well as keeping the council focused on local issues instead of state or national issues.
Also on the ballot, Denton ISD has 4 candidates vying for 2 school board seats. Patricia Sosa Sanchez is running for re-election to place 7 against Denton retiree Danny Charles Major. And for place 6, we have Charles Stinton running against pediatric nurse Lori Tays. And if you have never been much of a voter before, you may want to pay attention to this election because registered voters in Texas are in danger of being removed from registration polls.
And in a new voting bill passed by the Texas Senate, the Use It or Lose It bill would send address confirmation notices to voters who skip 2 consecutive federal elections. For voters that do not respond to these notices, they are placed in a suspense list. According to the bill, no response serves as proof that a voter no longer lives at that address. This bill comes as a result of having 31 counties identified to have voter registration rates exceeding 100%. And you know, Avery, I can't believe it's tax season again.
I know, right? I really just hope I filed on mine correctly.
Well, if you messed something up, don't worry. The IRS has been slacking on audits. ntTV's James Peeler has the story. James?
Thanks, fellas. Well, it's tax season again, and none of us want to go down like Al Capone or Spiro Agnew, but to those of us frightened about our tax returns being audited, you can relax just a little bit. Last year, a report from the GAO estimated that for tax years 2010 to 2019, the chance of individual returns being audited dropped from 0.9% to 0.25%. This equates to 1 in every 400 tax returns being pulled by the IRS for a closer look. If you're in the lowest income category, the review found lower income audits are generally more automated, allowing the IRS to continue these audits even with fewer staff. Now, if you're in the $5 million plus tax bracket, audits have plummeted. Those returns tend to be more complex, so digging into them requires more employee hours at the IRS. That's all from me. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Jim. Well, whether you're headed to the tax or election office this week, you might need to carry an umbrella. Our weather anchor, Brooke Deering, can tell us what to expect this week. Brooke?
Thanks, guys. Well, those clouds that we were missing last week are making up for their absence and heading into this coming week. If we take a look at our current conditions, the temperature right now is at 72 degrees with 19-mile-per-hour winds. Now, those winds are going to continue to speed up as we head into tonight. If we take a look at tonight's conditions, the temperature is going to drop into the 60s. We're seeing the temperature at 65 degrees with winds going up to 20 miles per hour. Now, those clouds that we're having are going to continue to darken as we have a stray thunderstorm potentially tonight. Now we're hoping that storm just passes south of us, but it's always good to just be aware of what's to come. Now, if we head into tomorrow's conditions, the temperature is going to go back up all the way into the 80s. We're seeing the temperature at 83 degrees, and with those 22-mile-per-hour winds, it's going to feel a little bit cooler at 81 degrees. Now, I'll be back later in the show for your full weather update. Back to you at the desk.
An anti-gun rally draws in hundreds of people to the Tennessee Capitol. They are demanding gun reform after the school shooting that took place last month, leaving 6 people dead. Here's the story.
We're coming for that House. We're coming for that Senate. We don't have to use violence. We'll use our power.
From the pulpit to the plaza to the People's House, they marched the streets of downtown Nashville.
Coming protesting. We're coming voting. We're coming. And we intend to get what we're coming for.
The Tennessee Moral Monday rally was a call on those in the legislature to repent or resign.
And for you lawmakers, GOP, Brewery, and Cameron Sexton, you better get ready, because at 22 years old, me, my friends, and my community, we're coming for that House.
Bishop William J. Barber II, Tennessee national faith leaders, and people of all ages, races, and beliefs came together to plead for gun safety reform in Tennessee. They marched from McKendree United Methodist Church downtown with pallbearers carrying 6 empty caskets to symbolize the 6 victims of the Covenant School shooting.
We're going to resume classes tomorrow, and those kids don't get to resume classes feeling safe.
Sarah Shoup Newman has a son who attends the Covenant School and was there during the shooting.
Bullets were flying through those 3rd grade classrooms. If they wouldn't have had them in the right spot, those kids wouldn't be here.
She was among the hundreds in the crowd and one who chose to speak directly to lawmakers.
For my son, I have to fight for him, for the lives that we lost, for him to be able to go back into that school.
Shoup Newman is thankful her son survived, but she still lost members of her Covenant family.
We really miss Catherine. We miss all of them. They really know everybody. Mr. Mike was the custodian, and my son told me, Mommy, Mr. Mike made my room perfect and nice every day.
She hopes her voice doesn't just move hearts, but moves responsible gun legislation into law.
I hope it wakes up everybody else.
And if not, these supporters say they'll be at the state capitol every day until some change is made.
Friends and family of the victims of the shooting are actively present in the rally seeking action on gun laws. Protests against gun violence continue to grow across the country.
We head over now to our reporter, Sebastian Nava, who has more about an incident in Kansas City that is sparking more outrage.
That's right, Victor and Avery. Students at Stanley High School in Kansas City held a walkout in support of Ralph Yarl, a junior at the school who is in the hospital recovering from gunshot wounds after mistakenly going to the wrong house to pick up his younger siblings. Kansas City police say 84-year-old homeowner Andrew Lester shot at Yarl through his glass front door. Kansas City PD later arrested Lester and charged him with first-degree assault and armed criminal action. Protests have begun around the country after Lester was not initially charged for the shooting and is currently out of jail after posting bail set at $200,000. Lester's home has been the target of vandalism, with eggs being thrown at the house along with graffiti markings. No date has been set for Lester to appear in court. Now that's all I have for this report. Back to y'all at the desk.
Thanks, Seb. Coming up, an American journalist accused of spying is stuck in a foreign country.
And ever wonder how much parking space our nation has? The results will shock you after the break.
Yay!
These video games and cameras. That's right, you do. Come on down to Chilton Library and fulfill your media dream. Located on the bottom floor next to the student sculpture. Hope to see you there soon.
Hey girl, you know you look good. I like the way you move and groove. I'm not your
No, I've been feeling gross all week.
Maybe we should go get a COVID test.
But I already have all 3 of my shots.
Yeah, but you can still get it. I mean, maybe we should go get one just in case.
Yeah, you're right. We have that party and all that.
Yeah.
Where do I even get tested here?
Let me check.
You can find free COVID testing sites at the University Union, room 381 on weekdays, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and on weekends, 1 p.m. to 7 p.m., and at Chestnut Hall, room 120, from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. You have to show the QR code given to you when you arrive for an appointment. Tests take no longer than 10 minutes to complete. Results will be sent through text or email within the next 48 hours.
I got a negative COVID test. Me too. Oh my god, let's go to the party. Yes. Let's go.
President Biden is signing an executive order today that aims to increase access to long-term and affordable child care. The order will make federal agencies identify grant programs for people working on federal projects. The programs will help federal workers pay for child care and long-term care. The executive order will also require the Defense Department to improve affordability for military families.
Do you think you should get time off for religious beliefs? Well, Gerald Groff took the U.S. Postal Service to court because they were not able to accommodate his request to take Sundays off due to religious beliefs. A district judge ruled against Groff, finding his request caused extra hardships for USPS. The ruling was affirmed by a third U.S. Court of Appeals. However, now the Supreme Court will make the final decision.
Imagine being stuck in another country. Now, imagine being stuck in their jail. Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkov will remain in a Russian jail as he has been detained for espionage charges. Gershkov could potentially spend 20 years in Russian prison. Wall Street Journal has denied any spying accusations, and the U.S. State Department has officially designated him as wrongfully detained in Russia. And
do you own an electric vehicle? If so, for certain brands, consumers will be able to get back up to $75,000 this tax season. However, the This year, the Treasury is taking electric vehicles off the list if they come from foreign brands like Hyundai or Nissan. The list is still subject to change if assembling locations are created in America. Well, now that I'm thinking about cars, I'm trying to remember where I parked mine.
Yeah, I had the opposite problem. Actually, this afternoon, I couldn't find any parking.
Oh, well, hopefully we'll both be able to find our cars. Our segment anchor, Kayla Bumpus, can tell us more about parking spaces and the effect they have on our environment. Kayla?
I know sometimes it feels as though there is never enough parking. However, that's actually the opposite of the case. It is estimated that the U.S. has an astounding 2 billion parking spots, which is more than 6 times the number of registered cars. In perspective, all parking combined is the equivalent to both Vermont and Connecticut. This excess of land dedicated to parking is burdening the environment along with the economy. Solutions that have been discussed include utilizing the land for more profitable businesses or providing affordable housing. Fortunately, many areas and even states have begun to minimize the number required of parking spaces for future projects. This will promote walking and the use of public transportation, which are both great alternatives for the environment. That's all I have for today. Stay green, Denton.
Thanks, Kayla. Well, with Earth Day coming this Saturday, I would like to go out and enjoy the sun unless Mother Nature has some other plans.
Yeah, and that would be nice. And while we're talking, let's get some free advice from our weather anchor, Brooke Deering, and see what's in store for us this weekend. Brooke?
Thanks, guys. Well, we're seeing those springtime temperatures all across the area. If we take a look at our local map, we're seeing a lot of 70-degree temperatures, 71 degrees being our most common temperature in Decatur, McKinney, Dallas, and Sherman. We're seeing our cooler temperature up in Gainesville at 69 degrees, and then we're seeing our warmest temperature over in Graham at 78 degrees. Now, if we take a look at our regional map, we're going to see those temperatures get a little bit warmer and hop up into the 80s. Now, if we take a look at our map, we're seeing those 70 cooler temperatures in Austin at 76 degrees and Shreveport at 71 degrees. We're seeing Oklahoma City at 79 degrees, so it's getting close to those 80s. But if we look at Houston, we're seeing 80-degree temperatures, and then Abilene almost in the 90s at 89 degrees. Now, if we take a look at our 7-day forecast, we're going to see the temperatures drop as we head into the weekend, with Saturday a sunny day with a high of 69 degrees and a low of 45 degrees. We're going to see a couple of clouds on Sunday with a high of 64 degrees and a low of 50 degrees. Now, we're going to see some rain on Thursday, those PM thunderstorms with a high of 81 degrees and a low of 55 degrees. And those storms are going to keep developing into Friday morning with a high of 73 degrees and a low of 44 degrees. Now, luckily, we have a nice weekend for Earth Day, but on Monday, we're going to see a couple of showers. It's nothing too crazy. We're not seeing any severe thunderstorms, but it is going to develop into Tuesday morning, where we're going to see some AM thunderstorms with a high of 83 degrees and a low of 58 degrees. Now, I like to always say, make sure you're keeping a lookout for those weather updates. I'm Brooke Deering with ntTV Weather. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Brooke. Coming up, an NFL star who almost lost his life has been cleared to return to football later this year.
And the youngest professional basketball player in U.S. history is from Dallas, Texas. Stay with us for his story.
I'm here to rescue you.
Oh, my friends.
No so fast.
This story is going to be awesome.
Can I see your voter registration, please? All right, you're good. No registration, no entry. All right. Let me see your voter registration card, please.
I'm not registered to vote.
No registration, no entry.
Dude, my friends are already in there.
No registration, no entry.
What the?
Join the club. Register to vote today.
what does Talents do?
So I'm the Vice President of External Relations for Talents. That means that I basically oversee all the external committees. Our external committees entail our Model A, it's a Mean Green Machine. So they bring it to football games especially, so every game it's kind of there, every home game. The Model A is like a symbol of UNC pride, and it's a big tradition that we are so lucky to uphold and maintain. When people look at it, they see it, and they're like, oh, that's the Mean Green Machine. There must be a game today or something to ramp up school spirit for basketball, softball, volleyball, any of those things. We have amazing teams, so we just want to show school spirit for them. Bonfire Committee, which is in charge of putting together the bonfire every year for homecoming. It's kind of just a whole semester-long process up until Build Week that we have to put together and oversee and make sure safety regulations are followed and risk management is taken care of. Cannon Crew, which oversees and takes care of the cannon. They fire it at games, they take it to special occasions.
In today's world, there isn't just water. There's tap water, filtered water, and all kinds of sparkling water.
That is so true, Victor. And our reporter Maya Nicholson has the latest on the current water trends. Maya?
That's right, Avery. Today, I'm talking about #WaterTalk. This is a trend where hydration enthusiasts share their water recipes online and hopes to encourage people to drink more water. While millions have joined in on this water wave, other people are concerned that this trend might be harming its followers instead of helping them. The typical water recipe you'll find online usually requires large amounts of sugar and artificial sweeteners. These creators are showing you how to make things like bubblegum water, pina colada water, and even water inspired after Starbucks drinks. Health experts have weighed in on this toxic diet culture and say that these recipes could lead to an eating disorder and might not be the best option in the long run. Now people are wondering whether to stop this trend or to start embracing the natural taste of water. Me personally, I just like to stay hydrated. What do you guys think at the desk?
Thanks, Maya. And that sounds really exciting. With all this talk about water, it is kind of making me thirsty, and I'm just sitting here.
Yeah, now imagine what it'd feel like to be an athlete, Avery. We all know it isn't easy to be playing pro sports as a career, but there's an update on one athlete that had captured the whole country's heart not too long ago. Our sports anchor Armando Berry will tell us more. Armando?
That's right, Victor and Avery. After thousands of prayers worldwide, Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin has been cleared to resume football activities. Hamlin suffered cardiac arrest in the middle of a game last January on national television. He later discovered the cause of the incident was due to being diagnosed with commotio cordis, which is a condition that directly blows your heartbeat at a specific point. The condition is the leading cause of death in youth athletes across all sports, and Hamlin says he plans to fight to raise awareness of it. There was a wild playoff night in Dallas, and I'm not talking about the Mavs or the Cowboys. Find out what's going on when we return from break.
Good evening, my name is Amanda Hasbell, and I'm joining you here today in the Union Parking Garage. Today we're going to be going over how to drive safely in the parking garage. Let's go see. Oh my God, this girl just got hit by a car. Let's go see what happened. Ma'am, are you okay? Are you okay? Did you see that lady hit me with a car? Yeah, we did. I got it all on video. Oh my God. Let's go over here and talk about how we can prevent that. Yeah, not the hospital. Well, right now we're going to ask you a couple questions on how we can drive safely in the parking lot. What are ways that we can be aware of our surroundings?
Oh, we can look both ways.
Jenna, also, how about putting the distractions away?
Yes, just like our phones, turning our music down, and also not focusing on our passengers.
Where can you get information on how to get a parking pass?
Transportation.unt.edu.
If you park in a garage, make sure you pay on the app or look for further instructions on how you should pay.
And remember, no pass, no park. Let's all try to keep our Mean Green community safe.
Remember, we're all in this together.
Drive safe.
I have a question for you all tonight. When is the last time you exercised for over 92 minutes? For me, it's been a while. But if you ask the Dallas Stars, the answer would be yesterday, an opening night of playoff hockey against the Minnesota Wild. It was a back-and-forth affair throughout most of the game. Jared Spurgeon strikes first for the Wild. Then it's Roope Hintz who evens things up in the second period. The game goes to double overtime, tied at 2. 11-minute mark in 2 OT, and Mark Marchment just misses it too high. With the game in his hands, it comes back to bite the Stars as Ryan Hartman nails the game winner for the Wild and takes game 1 in Dallas. Stars are now down 1 in the series. Game 2 will be played Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Let's go to baseball, where it felt like just last week the Rangers were playing the Royals. Well, that's because they were. This time they're in Kansas City, so let's go out to Kauffman Stadium for the first game of the series. Top of the first, Rangers, they scored on that one. Then going up next, Marcus Semien and Travis Jankowski, they're going to score as well. 3-0 Rangers. Later on the third, Semien got one for himself, and the Rangers won 4-0. Jacob deGrom also pitched 4 hitless innings, but left early with wrist soreness. Here's what he said about his early exit.
I felt it a little bit warming up and thought it was going to loosen up, and it actually tightened up a little bit as the game went on. So playing it smart. Could I have kept going? Probably, but you know, it was lingering, and it got a little bit worse as the game was going on. And I was like, hey, you know, I just want to play this safe. We got a long season ahead of us.
Long season ahead of them indeed. Rangers continue the series with game 2 tonight. First pitch is set for 6:30 p.m. On to the hardwood. If you look up the definition of young and turn in the dictionary, you will find this guy named Dink Pate. At 17 years old, Pate is now the youngest professional basketball player in U.S. history after signing with the NBA's G League Unite program. He's a Dallas native who is graduating from Dallas Pinkston a year early. He just turned 17 in March and announced his decision on Twitter earlier today that he's decided to forgo college and enter into the 2025 NBA draft. As a person who's just about to finish college, I can approve this message. Get money, not test. Part of what comes with winning, though, is players getting opportunities elsewhere. UNT felt that today as big man Abu Osman announced he's transferring to Xavier via Twitter. Usman averaged 11 points and 6 rebounds a game last season. He also was a focal point of the #1 defense in college basketball that held opponents to 55.7 points per game. The Mean Green men's basketball head coach, Ross Hodge, has made his first new hire to his staff. The team announced on Monday via Twitter that he is bringing in Phil Forte to join the reigning NIT champions as an assistant coach. Forte is a Flower Mound native who is coming from St. Louis University after helping lead them back-to-back 20-win seasons the past 2 years. He also brings plenty of on-court experience as an all-time great that helped lead the Oklahoma State Cowboys to 4 NCAA tournament wins alongside now Boston Celtic Marcus Smart. That's your look at sports for tonight. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Armando, and thank you for watching ntTV Nightly News.
Join us again tomorrow at noon and tomorrow evening at 6 here on North Texas Television.
There it is.